I wanted to talk about apostrophes in the ACT English section today because apostrophes do tend to come up in about 5 to 6 questions, and if you can get those 5 to 6 questions right, you can improve your score on the English section by about 2 to 3 points. So let's check it out. The first thing I want to say is that apostrophes are there to show possession. So they are there to indicate that somebody or something owns something else. So if you look on the left side of the board here, the left side of the notebook, I've laid out a regular noun, slightly irregular noun, and then a special case with the word it, which is a pronoun, and a couple of other things in this special case. So let's just check it out. I want to look at the 4 forms of a noun that you usually have to decide between when you have one of these questions involving apostrophes in the ACT English section. Now look over here quick on the right side. I'll get to this in detail in a second, but notice that there are these same 4 forms for the noun llama on this side. Alright, but let's go over them quick so you know what I'm talking about. The first form of a noun, of course, is just singular, right? In this case we have horse, there's just one horse, so the horse ate, just one horse, right? Singular. Then there's plural, the horses ate, now there's more than one horse. Note that neither one of these is possessive, the horse isn't owning anything in this case, the horses aren't owning anything down here, they're just eating, right? Alright, and then the third case is singular possessive, right? So we had singular, we had plural, now we have singular possessive. Of course, in order to make something plural, we added an S, and here, in order to make something singular and possessive, we're adding an apostrophe S. So, it is the horse's bridle. Whose bridle? The horse's, right? Now, if you want to make something, in a regular case, plural possessive, you just add an apostrophe after the S. And so here we have the cows ate in the horse's barn. Whose barn? The horses. All the horses together are supposed to own the barn. Of course, we know it's actually the farmer that owns the barn, but you get the point. All right, now here's a kind of an irregular case. If you have a noun that ends in a Y, of course you can change the ending to IES for plural. So we have singular, family, with a Y. Plural, take off the Y and add the IES. But then what do you do if you want to create a possessive form of this verb? Well, you just take the regular singular form, and if you want to create singular possessive, you just add an apostrophe and an S, and if you want to create plural possessive, you put an S after the plural form. You put an apostrophe after the plural form, so apostrophe right at the end here. Okay, great. Well, let me look over here on the right side of the notebook and take a look at this very typical question on the ACT exam. This is a question you might see, not this exact question, but one very similar. So here we go. Sarah dodged the llama's kick, fell onto the ground, and rolled away. I'm noticing here I should have added a comma here because, if it'll let me, because on the ACT they like you to have the Oxford comma, which means if you have a list, which we have here, we have Sarah first dodged the llama's kick, then fell onto the ground, and finally rolled away. So you have 3 items, and before the and that comes after the second item, you need to have a comma. Alright, well, so Sarah dodged the llama's kick. Okay, well, we have 4 choices. We have to keep it the way it is, A, no change, to change it to the singular form of llama, to change it to the singular possessive form of llama, or to change it to the plural possessive form of llama. Okay, well first, this is the way to do it. If you're deciding on how to determine whether something is, or how to use an apostrophe on one of the questions, or whether to use an apostrophe, decide first, is it singular or plural? So singular or plural, right? Okay? And the second thing you need to do is think, is it possessive or not possessive? Okay? So here, should this noun here be singular or plural? Well, it seems to say the llama's kick. Okay, so it seems like you probably don't have a bunch of llamas kicking with a single kick. So it seems like it should probably be singular. So I'm going to circle singular down here. I'm going to change the color here so we can kind of get an indication. So I think it should be singular. And then Are the llamas owning anything? Should it be possessive or not possessive? Well, it seems like the llama, I shouldn't say llamas, I should say the llama. So does the llama own anything? Well, it seems like the llama owns, in a manner of speaking, the kick, right? So the llama's kick. So I'm going to say it's possessive. So I have singular possessive, and looking over here I know that in the regular form it should just have an apostrophe S. So I'm going to choose the letter C. Alright. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me go through one special case here. Alright, this is one that confuses students all the time because it's backwards from the regular form. Usually when you have an apostrophe S, that indicates that you have a singular possessive situation. But because there's also a contraction, it is, a contraction is something like changing does not to doesn't by removing the vowel in the word not and replacing it with an apostrophe. Here we've removed the vowel in the word is and replaced it with an apostrophe to form the contraction it is. So this is not the possessive form of its. This is the possessive form of its without the apostrophe. Now there's also a third form which shows up on the ACT, but it is not real, it does not exist. There is no such thing as its with an apostrophe at the end. You may have figured out why. It only refers to one thing, so you can't have a plural possessive form of its, right? So I should indicate this is right here, singular possessive. So right there. Its without an apostrophe is singular possessive. Alright, I hope that is enough information to get you going and get you a couple more questions right, at least a couple more, hopefully 5 more, on the ACT